All right. So good evening, everyone. It's Thursday evening, May 19th, 2022 here in the Michigan District. And we are excited tonight that you have joined us for Kiwanis Let's Talk. For those of you that have not been with us before, this is a weekly program that is hosted on the same link that you have for the other programs, where we bring in different speakers each week to talk about things either Kiwanis related or not Kiwanis related. I was telling our guests earlier today that we are bringing in someone who hunted Bigfoot. Carol Stern from she's the executive director of the Walmart Foundation is coming in. Many of us know her from UNICEF. So a lot of great programs coming up. A lot of great programs that we've had in the past. Many are on Facebook Live, and many of them are the ones from the past 2 years are actually on the Michigan District of Kiwanis YouTube page. So we're now in our third year of a program that started out as a way just for us to stay connected with our Kiwanis friends, and it's grown from there. So I'm Sue Petrisin from the Michigan District of Kiwanis, something I started just for fun a couple of years ago. I served as our Kiwanis International President in 2015, 2016. And this evening, we are very excited to host our two candidates for Kiwanis International Vice President for the upcoming Kiwanis International Convention in June in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm pleased to have with me tonight the Kiwanis International Past President from 2009, 2010, Paul Palazzolo. He will be our questioner this evening, as he always does for us. So we've got him on retainer for the next 10 or 15 years, depending on how long we do this, just so you know. We will, yep, he's watching time.
No, I mean 10 or 15 years.
10 or 15
I don't know if
years.
I'm ready for that.
Well, okay. Well,
maybe 5 years.
All right, we'll do 5 years. So we're glad that you're with us this evening. As I mentioned, Paul will be doing all the questions. So we will start out this evening and ask each of our candidates to introduce themselves. They'll have 2 minutes to do that. They'll have 3 minutes for questions, and I will do my best to give you a 1 minute notice for questions. I'll get a little piece of paper. Actually, I do a piece of paper to show you that. But we will go from there. So let us start with George.
All right, clock is ticking. My name is George Delisle. I am a 43-year member of Kiwanis, joined the Springfield, Massachusetts club back in 1979 when I was a 27-year-old young newspaper man. My professional background is in journalism and also, strangely enough, as an IT professional. I was the systems administrator for the daily newspaper, where I spent most of my 47-year newspaper career. I have been able to use those journalism and communication skills, as well as my computer skills, in the service of Kiwanis for many, many years now. I'm a past governor of the New England and Bermuda district. I have been the president of 2 Kiwanis clubs in New England, and I currently serve as the secretary of the Kiwanis Club of Northampton, Massachusetts. I'm also a past district secretary in New England, and I think that particular experience has given me a completely different perspective on the operations of Kiwanis districts, as well as the responsibilities of our district officers with regard to their relationship with Kiwanis International. I am a big believer in the need for consistent, sustained, and reliable membership growth, and I hope to make that a plank in my platform, actually the major plank in my platform, as I ask you to elect me as the next Kiwanis International Vice President. I live in Massachusetts with my wife, Gina. We have 3 adult daughters, and we have 3 grandsons, and my 2 minutes is up in 10 seconds, so thank you very much.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Lee Kuan Yew.
Okay, hello, fellow Kiwanians from around the world. My name is Lee Kuan Yew, and I'm from the Malaysia district. I joined Kiwanis 29 years ago. When Malaysia was declared a district information in year 2000, I was elected the first governor. And so I had to be trained on the job together with the next 2001, 2002 class. You see, I was never a governor-elect. And as the first governor of the new district, I held on to every word at the training. And the message of new club building and membership growth is job number 1 for the district was firmly etched in my mind. Till today, In 2011, I was elected as an international trustee for 3 years. Those were very pivotal and important years because I gained finally a worldview of our global Kiwanis organization while being trained to be a good board member and for higher leadership roles. After leaving the international board 8 years ago, I continued serving in the Asia Pacific ASPEC region. Firstly, on the ASPEC board for 4 years. And secondly, from 2018 to today, serving as the membership coordinator or ASPEC growth chair to support the 9 Asia Pacific districts in membership growth and new club opening. Professionally, I am a chartered accountant or CPA with 35 years of financial management experience. And for 20 years at the height of my career, I was the finance director or CFO of a real estate development company with net assets that grew to 100 million US. Fellow Kiwanians, I'm running for vice president because I believe passionately that Kiwanis as a global organization can build more servant leaders to multiply our impact on children's lives. And with your support and your vote, we can bring Kiwanis International further than we have been before. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul, take it away.
Hey, well, thank you, past International President Sue. And let me briefly begin by thanking past President Sue for dreaming and producing and directing these Kiwanis Let's Talk programs and this opportunity for the candidates. And thank the 2 candidates, George Delisle and Lee Kuan Yeung, for being with us tonight and for all of those who've joined us. Let me begin, and I apologize for those who have watched our programs on the candidates previously, last week and last year, because I like to try and put things into context for service on the Kiwanis International Board. And I'd like to start by saying that from what I've learned for serving on the board before, the main reason for the existence of this leadership structure, the district level, the international level, is to help Kiwanis clubs be the best that they can be and to be resources for Kiwanis club leaders to provide the best possible Kiwanis club experience for the members. In essence, and I repeated this from last week and last year, these leaders that you're electing for the international board help us all at the club level to be prepared to provide value for the members. And that's what it's all about. International vice presidents and trustees serve at the international board table, and that's where important policy decisions are made in Indianapolis, Indiana, but they also serve in the trenches. They also help club leaders be prepared to provide value. They also help motivate and cheerlead and reward district governors-elect to help Kiwanis clubs. Again, the whole purpose for the structure is to help clubs be the best that they can be. So then more in context is this: when you are electing one of these 2 individuals tonight to be vice president of Kiwanis International, that person will serve as vice president of Kiwanis International in 2022-23. And then by virtue of the bylaws and tradition, they will be the only candidate for the office of Kiwanis International President-elect. And so then one of these 2 individuals will serve as Kiwanis International President-elect in 23-24.
Oh,
Before, just keep that in mind, that you're not just electing a vice president, you're electing a Kiwanis International president for 2024-25. So let's begin with some questions. And we started out with George Delisle in the presentation of opening remarks. So we will alternate. And so then Lee Kuan Yeung will have the opportunity to provide the first answer to this question. And past International President Sue will be doing the timing and giving the signal when there's 1 minute left. So Lee Kuan Yeung, first question: what non-Kiwanis related leadership experience do you have that will be useful in the roles as vice president, president-elect, and president?
Quan, you're muted.
Okay, thank you very much. What non-Kiwanis related leadership roles?
Yep.
I'm a chartered accountant and CFO, CPA, and has financial management experience for 35 years at the top level. And for the last 20 years, at the height of my career, I was the CFO or finance director of a property development company. Now, those 20 years, which is the most important part of my career, will put me in a very good position to understand the financial aspect of our global Kiwanis organization. Our Kiwanis organization, has assets of about 20 million, 30 million at the international level, and 50 million when combined with the children's funds. So there are important amount of funds that we have to manage. And we have to be, particularly in this period of global pandemic and declining membership and very limited financial resources, we have to look at the top line in terms of how to bring revenue, but also we have to look at the expenditure to see how we can spend our money prudently so that our organization can continue to serve children and the community in a very financially responsible way. So in that respect, that would be my most important contribution at the international board. Thank you very much.
George, so what non-Kiwanis related leadership experience do you have that will be useful in serving as Vice President, President-elect, and President?
Paul, as a journalist and a professional newsroom administrator, during my 47-year career with the Springfield newspapers, I managed a news staff, and I also managed an IT department that was making substantial changes, bringing in very different technology during the period in which the newspaper industry was transitioning from the old technology of hot lead and movable type to electronic news gathering and electronic typesetting. My entire career was spent managing change, and in most of that time, I was managing some colossal, earth-shattering changes as we transitioned that newsroom and that production department to the new technology. I'm a team builder. I'm a good team leader. I have great experience with working with people with diverse points of view to get goals set, to get plans made, and to get things accomplished. In addition to that, I've sat on the boards of directors of a couple of mental health agencies here in Western Massachusetts, in addition to my Kiwanis work. So I'm quite used to working with nonprofit boards, with working with volunteers, and just working with people in general in a team setting to make things happen. That's my answer.
Thanks, George. Second question, George, you're up first. Key Club will be celebrating its 100th anniversary during the year that you have the potential to be Kiwanis International President. Leading up to that time, what strategies have you seen that work to help Kiwanis clubs fulfill their responsibilities of sponsorship for their Kiwanis family clubs, including Key Club, Circle K, Builders, Kiwanis Kids, Action, etc.? What strategies have you seen that work that help Kiwanis clubs fulfill, to be aware of their responsibilities of sponsorship and then fulfill those responsibilities of sponsorship?
Paul, communication is key. We have many Kiwanis clubs who have legacy Key clubs, legacy Circle K clubs that have been around for a long time. But the Kiwanis club may not be paying a lot of attention to that thing. I know of Key clubs that have never seen a Kiwanis advisor, that have little, if any, contact with their sponsoring Kiwanis club. That needs to change. The effective strategy, of course, is for Kiwanis leadership to talk to these folks, to get the message down to the clubs that not only do you have a responsibility to these young folks, but if you fulfill that responsibility in the proper way, it's going to benefit your club. It's going to build your club's membership. It's going to build your club's presence in the community. And it's going to build relationships that will come back to benefit your Kiwanis club and your members for years and years to come. So to me, it's all about communication. We need to do a better, more effective job of communicating those responsibilities to each and every Kiwanis club, and to showing them by example the best ways, the best practices to carry out those responsibilities.
Thanks, George. Lee Kuan Yew Key Club will be celebrating its 100th anniversary during the year that you have the potential to be Kiwanis International President. Leading us up to that time, what strategies have you seen that work which help Kiwanis clubs fulfill their responsibilities of sponsorship to their Kiwanis family clubs, Key Club, Circle K, Builders, Action, Kiwanis Kids, etc.?
Yeah, President Paul, there are many areas that we work very well. I think Kiwanis has done a great job. And Key Club members are more than Kiwanis members, as you all know. So we have to continue supporting this very important service leadership program. I can think of at least 3 things that we have done well, and we should continue to do well. Number 1, any club that sponsors a Key Club definitely has to provide a line in their budget to support these Key Clubs. You know, with some money, you can do a lot more. Of course, the Key Club members can raise funds, but definitely the sponsoring Kiwanis Club must have a line budget. Number 2, the Kiwanis clubs and the sponsoring Key, and the Key Club that we sponsor, we have to get together more regularly. So we have to invite the Key Club leadership to join our Kiwanis board meetings, general meetings, and more importantly, to get them involved in our projects, or we as Kiwanis members to involve in their projects. I think that kind of what you call a relationship building, particularly when you're doing projects together, will help us to make our Key Club even more vibrant. It will not only make the Key Club members excited that somebody cares, but it also makes our Kiwanis members excited because these young people make us all feel young. And thirdly, we must remember that Kiwanis as an international organization in 80 nations around the world. The Key Clubbers, they really like the fact that, you know, we are international organization. And now with Zoom, you know, if we can sort of connect them and let them know that there is a Key Club in Malaysia that can connect with the Key Club in Massachusetts, you know, these things really will ensure that our Key Club program will go on for another 100 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee Kuan Yew. And so then the next round, the first question goes to you. Tell us about a typical Saturday for Lee Kuan Yew.
This Saturday, 9 o'clock, I'll be having a in-person meeting, you know, because now that we have able to do that, with a group of very excited, enthusiastic Kiwanis leaders, because they want to form either a Key Club or a Circle K Club. So this is what's going to happen this Saturday. So later in the morning, I'll have a Zoom with my club president. He's just been elected 2 days ago. He's young. He's the youngest in our club. And in his speech, he told us that his father is younger than many of our members. That was a true revelations. But he reached out to me and said, you know, shall we have a chat this Saturday so that I can absorb all the things that you know about in the last 29 years about Kiwanis. I like to learn. You know, he's like a sponge absorbing all the things that, you know, we want to sort of share with him. He's a very young, dynamic, incoming club president. is already doing a lot, I think being seconded also to one of the government youth department as well. In the afternoon, there will be another Kiwanis meeting, again, talking about Kiwanis growth. And possibly at night, there will be another Zoom at the invitation of a Kiwanian in North America to talk about one topic of an amendment that we're going to present at the International Convention. So these are Kiwanis activities. Of course, in between, there will be lunch with the family. There will be sometimes just certain leisure activities, which I defer to Sunday, morning walks. So generally speaking, my Saturdays, because it is not working day, tend to be filled with a lot of Kiwanis activities. And in between, there's always Kiwanis emails to answer, Kiwanis chat on Facebook Messenger, and particularly going into Icon now, there's a lot of things, including campaigning. We have to tell about ourselves, tell people more about who we are, why we should be the next Kiwanis International Vice President. And I think it's a good thing, George and I obviously, working very hard to tell everybody that why we should be elected as the next International Vice President. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lee Kuan Yew. George Delisle, tell us about a typical Saturday.
Well, now I feel like a slacker. The reality, look, I'm retired. All right, I retired from my long career at the newspaper 4.5 years ago. So, unlike my friend Kuan Yew, I am not working a day job. I'm a full-time Kiwanian. Kiwanis is what I do. So Saturday around here tends to be not so much Kiwanis. It's cut the grass day. It's clean up my office day. It's now Gina, my wife Gina, is the secretary of one of our two clubs. She's the secretary of the Westfield Kiwanis Club. I'm secretary of the Northampton Kiwanis Club. So Saturday is also typically get our minutes together, get our documents together, get everything ready for next week's Kiwanis meeting. And I'm, as you can see, I'm sitting in my little office here. This is a 4-bedroom house. The kids are long gone, so Gina's office is that away on in the other corner. But Saturday is sort of relaxed around here. We do the Kiwanis work that we need to do, but we also do the household chores. The laundry gets done. Two of my daughters live here in town. The third one lives in Providence, Rhode Island. So last weekend was spent with the grandson from Providence, Rhode Island. We drove out to Rhode Island to pick him up. He spent the weekend here with grandma and grandpa, and then we took him home on Sunday night. Weekends are for family. And that's kind of a typical Saturday around. A good typical Saturday involves me taking Gina to the local ice cream place because she really likes ice cream.
Can I follow up and ask what her favorite flavor is?
Her absolute favorite flavor in the world, which we can't get here, is Baskin-Robbins has something called baseball nut. But there is no Baskin-Robbins within a 50-mile drive. So generally she goes with the mint chocolate chip.
And just to be fair, Kuan Yew, what your and your wife's favorite ice cream flavors?
Hazelnut or pistachio, one of the two. And we go out to the ice cream store every week, buy 2 tubs.
Very good. All right, George, you're up on the next question. How can we encourage more active club engagement with Kiwanis Magazine as an information tool for clubs to enhance the membership experience? How can we encourage more active club engagement with Kiwanis Magazine as an information tool for clubs to enhance the membership experience?
Actually, I think Kiwanis Magazine in the last couple of years under the current administration, I think they've done a very creditable job of talking to Kiwanis clubs around the world that are doing interesting things, that are carrying out fascinating projects and documenting those projects and putting them in the pages of the magazine for everyone to see. I think we just need to do more of that. There is a tendency among a lot of Kiwanians, and especially Kiwanians who've been around for a while, to see that Kiwanis magazine and just kind of park it in the corner. We need to encourage active readership of the Kiwanis magazine. And I think that we need to make it more interactive. I think we need to have more opinions and thoughts and interviews with typical, I shouldn't say everyday Kiwanians, because there's no such thing as an everyday Kiwanian. Our people are extraordinary, but we need to do a better job of seeking out those extraordinary stories and presenting them as inspiration, as something that will drive more service, new projects, and great ideas. But I really want to emphasize the fact that I have no criticism of Kiwanis magazine, the way it's being presented right now. I really enjoy it, and I think they're doing a fine job.
And just to be, the question was not meant as a criticism. It's just, how do we get more embrace of the publication? Cool.
I'm enough of a politician that I like to be careful.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Hey, thank you, George. Lee Kwan Yeong, how can we encourage more active club engagement with Kiwanis magazine as an information tool for clubs to enhance the membership experience?
Okay, we are now talking about club engagement to enhance their club experience. That's the key. Now we are entering into a new age. You know, Kiwanis magazine is very welcome magazine in the mail. You know, every month or every other month we receive that magazine, and the first thing we will start going through them. For many of us, that's what we like. You know, we like to thumb through those pages. But I think moving forward, we need to embrace technology, right? And I think recently we have the first digital edition. This should be encouraged. And with digital edition, there's an ability also to interact as well. You know, with technology, there's so many things I'm learning myself. Recently, I set up my own website with my club member. Wow, it looked difficult, but you know, once it started, you can start tinkering, and I even posted a video. So these are the things that even me in my country, I'm called a senior citizen, that I'm able to learn new technology. And I'm sure many Kiwanians, once they are faced with this restriction or faced with the fact that there's a digital magazine, they will get in and start exploring the Kiwanis magazine and to see how other clubs around the world are doing with their service projects, with their fundraising, and with their fellowship. So definitely Kiwanis magazine will play this important role, of course, as a spin-off from this digital magazine. And I think Kiwanis magazine is already doing that. They are setting up regular one page or one article about service projects that goes out maybe once a week or some intervals, and that will get members going to interact and use it more often. I don't know, there are more technology that will allow us to communicate and connect more interactively. When I look at my website, I found that 80% of the people access my website through mobile. You know, so mobile technology is now the way to go. You know, we have to have our magazine on our phone. And in fact, there are many things that we have to be on our phone as well. We can use technology for many things, to invite members to join the club, to raise funds as well. I mean, Malaysia is in the forefront with Kiwanis 4.0 to raise funds using the mobile phone. So there we are. I think technology will help us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And so Lee Kwan Yeong, the next question follows to you to answer first. What are your thoughts on the current state of effectiveness of the role of Kiwanis Lieutenant Governor? What are your thoughts on the current state of effectiveness of the role of Kiwanis Lieutenant Governor?
Thank you, Paul. The current state of the effectiveness of lieutenant governors. I think there's a lot of areas that we need improvement. I think, no doubt, everybody knows that. There are strategies that we need and we can do to improve that. Lieutenant governors are our most important connection to our clubs, right? As you mentioned, Paul, earlier, why are we here, right? Kiwanis is structured, right, at this level so that we can support the districts, and the districts can support the clubs, and the clubs can give very valuable club experience to the members. So this is how it goes down. So lieutenant governors are very key to this whole chain of support network. So I know there are many things that we need to improve, but there are many lieutenant governors who are doing a good job because they communicate with their clubs on a regular basis. And now with, again, technology in Malaysia, we use a lot of WhatsApp, right? WhatsApp is now a part of Facebook. So slowly being accepted and used. So we have a Facebook group of the lieutenant governor and the club presidents that will communicate the information. But there's only one extra way of communication. We need, of course, face-to-face. We need, of course, one-to-one as well. Lieutenant governor working with the club president. So a lot of the things that we know that is in our leadership guide to tell us as lieutenant governors what to do. Lieutenant governors just need to go through those pages, but sometimes there are too many pages. You know, I always say that there's much to read. Kiwanis has a lot of materials, very good materials, but we need to reduce them to concise, sometimes one pager, right? And then of course the one pager with teasers as to where to find more information. So there we are, Paul. There are many areas that are not doing well, but we know we can do well. To me, I want to inspire servant leaders at every level of our international organization. And when I say I want to inspire servant leaders, I mean I'm going to inspire the lieutenant governors to be good lieutenant governors again. And if I can, I don't expect to reach all of them, but if I can reach another 15%, another 30%, you can imagine the impact on our international organization. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. George Delisle, what are your thoughts on the current state of effectiveness of the role of Kiwanis Lieutenant Governor?
I don't want to get overly general about the state of the effectiveness of lieutenant governors, because quite frankly, it varies from district to district and it varies from year to year. The fact of the matter is that a good, well-trained, effective governor is probably going to have good, well-trained, effective lieutenant governors. Where things start to break down is if a district governor, and again, I don't mean to criticize anyone in particular, but if the governor doesn't fully understand the way in which the lieutenant governor's role should be properly used, the whole system kind of breaks down. And now we're back to the age-old question of training. Lieutenant governor training needs to be constantly refreshed, constantly reviewed, constantly renewed to reflect the current needs of the organization. And every lieutenant governor needs to be properly trained and to understand their role before, not after, but before they take on the lieutenant governor's role. Right here in my own district of New England, I know of lieutenant governors who have been the lieutenant governor for their district for 3, 4, 5 years and have never done the job. They've never done the job because no one else wants the job. It's distressing. We need to renew the role of the lieutenant governor. We need to try to restore the respect that lieutenant governor's job once had. because in many cases, it doesn't get the respect it used to. I know the first time I was a lieutenant governor, and this is, obviously prehistoric, but a long time ago, it was a highly respected role. I was treated like almost visiting royalty by most of the clubs that I visited. Now, the person who has that role in my own district essentially is getting, what are you here for? Why do we need to talk to you? What's going on? So training, communication, and trying to convey a sense through the organization of what the importance of the role is and why it's important that communication, two-way communication between the club and the district is facilitated in the right way. I think we have work to do, but I think we can do it.
Thanks, George. Next question, we start with George. In Kiwanis, locally, we need to proclaim our presence in all of our communities. What strategies would you suggest for district leaders and local leaders to help clubs do a better job of marketing?
Marketing. We are, again, this is going to vary from district to district and in many cases from division to division. Some divisions, some districts have people who are very, very savvy social media marketers. They know how to use YouTube. They know how to use Facebook. They know how to use Twitter. They know how to target specific demographics because they know which of those tools are going to reach the people in the age groups that they're trying to get to. We need comprehensive training for our public relations people, and every club should have a public relations manager. Every district, every division should have somebody responsible for public relations, and these people all need to be talking to one another. As with everything else, it's training, and from the top level, from the KI level, developing the tools, the techniques, and the documentation that can be handed to any district or division or club public relations person and give a broad outline and maybe some specifics of how to use the available tools in the best way to tell the Kiwanis story and to let our communities know of all the crucial things that we do day after day.
Thanks, George. Lee Kuan Yeung, we need to proclaim our presence in all of our communities that have a Kiwanis club. What strategies would you suggest for district leaders and local club leaders to help those clubs do a better job of marketing?
Thank you, Paul. Strategy to proclaim our presence, right? So today, my background is an example. Our signature projects of Kiwanis Club of Kuala Lumpur is the Down Syndrome School, or official name Kiwanis Down Syndrome Foundation National Center. This building is facing a highway. And you can see the Kiwanis branding right at the top of the building that everybody sees every day when they pass the highway. We have 20 signature projects in Malaysia. This is a culture now in Malaysia, where 1/3 of the clubs in the district have signature long-term permanent projects. And we proudly display our Kiwanis brand. Now, that is number one, that is already done. Now, what other strategies we need? Branding. Our international office has done a good job. There is a brand book, and it should be continued to be encouraged and to be repeated, that this brand book is very important, that people should use the same branding so that Kiwanis is recognized more widely and not as disparate organization. So branding book that we have, we just have to repeat, roll out. Kiwanis is a organization, we have to repeat our stories. I've been repeating my stories since I was a governor in year 2000, and I'm fine with repeating because I know new members come in, right? And they need to know about the Kiwanis story. So leading by example. I wish to inspire more servant leaders at every level of our Kiwanis organization. And part of that we need to wear our Kiwanis pin, Kiwanis t-shirt in our project when we go on projects. So we need all these things like wearing pins because it will mean pride of membership. And leaders like lieutenant governors, governors, club presidents, if they lead by wearing their pin, their t-shirts and show pride to be a Kiwanis member, they will inspire our other members to also do the same. And more importantly, the members of the public will get to know about Kiwanis. Many times we complain that the public doesn't know us, but we can do the job better ourselves so that they know our Kiwanis brand better. We have a problem in Malaysia because of our success of our Down syndrome school. When public talks about Kiwanis, they talk about Down syndrome. They think we are a Down syndrome organization. We got a good problem, but I think it's easy to solve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kwan. The first answer then for this next question falls to you, Kwan. And this is a repeat from last week's trustee forum because I think it's important. Successful clubs have good habits. What strategies or experiences do you have to counsel Kiwanis Club leaders to use and not just talk about tools like ACE, Achieving Club Excellence?
Thank you, Paul. When we focus on clubs, and as lieutenant governors, as leaders, as education chair, we have to understand at what level that club is in. Some clubs are already very well organized, but other clubs are still new and in its infancy. Even in a business setting, we cannot talk the same thing to everybody, one message. We have to know our audience. We need to know that this club is mature, well organized, having signature projects, have a lot of pride, versus a club that was formed last year that is still trying to find out its footing. So to me, as a Kiwanis leader, we need first to understand our audience. Now, ACE is very important. It has, again, Paul, I told you, many information there. If you throw the book at them, I think it will just knock their head and they'll go unconscious. But more importantly, as leaders, we have to summarize the things that's in the ACE and to explain to the club that this tool is very good. It may look very thick and a lot, but let's start with step one, right? And going through with them, particularly the new clubs, why this ACE strategy is important to get our club members to understand our strengths and weaknesses, and also to understand our community. So these are all very important strategies, but I think for us as leaders, the strategy we need to do is, number one, we need to know our clubs so that we can communicate at the level that they will listen and they will be able to understand and they will be able to take in. Many things in Kiwanis are easy, really. Everybody knows. You can be a super duper Kiwanian in a couple of years if you read all the documents from bylaws to guidebooks and so on. Now, we were a young district in Malaysia, 12 hours difference. We don't hear, voices from you guys. So what do? We read, okay? We read all the guidebooks, so we follow all the good practices. But as leaders, we also know we have to summarize them into one-page point form so that they can pick up these information in bite sizes and implement them. Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome. If I start hearing voices, I check myself in. Oh, I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
I know.
George, successful Kiwanis clubs have good habits. What strategies or experiences do you have that will encourage the counseling of Kiwanis club leaders to use tools like ACE, Achieving Club Excellence, and not just talk about tools like ACE?
Nothing succeeds like success. I mean, that's that's the bottom line. We need to be able to convey to our less successful Kiwanis clubs the reality that using those tools will lead to more success for their Kiwanis clubs. We do that. There are a lot of ways to do that. Kiwanis Magazine comes to mind. We should spotlight some clubs that have used the ACE tools to change the club experience, to change the way that they deliver services in their own communities, that may be refocused. Some old habits that they've gotten rid of and some new good habits that they've acquired. The story needs to be told, and the story needs to be told in such a way that Kiwanis clubs that are struggling a little bit can look at that story and say, oh, there really is something we can do about it. Now, we can convey that information in print. We can convey that information in training. There are many ways that international and district leaders can get that message out to the Kiwanis clubs. And I think it's incumbent on us to do that messaging and to do that in a very purposeful way, because we already know using those tools leads to a better club experience for the member, better outcomes for community programs, additional membership. All of the things that we're trying to build in this organization come as a direct result of using those tools in a purposeful way. So what I'm saying is communications and training are the key to a strategy of getting those tools used the way they should be used.
Thanks, George. Before I ask the last question tonight, I want to thank both George and Kwan because with only 2 candidates for the one role, the questions have been faster and quicker because there's only 2 candidates answering questions. And so there's less time to think about how you want to prepare your answers. So you all have been troopers. And so thank you for that to you both. So the last question, we'll start with George, and here's how I'm going to preface it. I'm going to mention 2 United States entertainers, and they are both of a globally recognized nature. So I'm not worried about being US centric on the 2 individuals I'm going to name. And so then the answer to the question is, choose your favorite of the 2 and tell us why. All right, George, Frank Sinatra or Elvis Presley, the chairman of the board or the king?
Frank Sinatra, because I'm old. I really love the Great American Songbook. And of all of the male singers I've listened to throughout my life, the only one who's come close to Frank Sinatra in my book is Sammy Davis Jr. Love the man's work, and I love the music that he performed.
Thank you, sir. Lee Kuan Yew, Frank Sinatra or Elvis Presley, the chairman of the board or the king?
The king, Elvis Presley, because my wife and I like dancing. Okay, we like ballroom dancing, and so blue suede shoes and all the rock and roll music are great, energetic dancers to dance. And I can also sing, I think, my way in a highly exciting fashion as well. So. Well, that is called jazzing it up. But anyway, Elvis Presley.
Very cool. Thank you. And I also love the unique nature of those 2 because they both sang My Way. Anyway, guys, thank you for, as I said before, being troopers, and the pressure of answering a question one right after the other because there were only 2 candidates. Usually there's maybe 4 or 3. I think you both did extremely well. So past International President Sue, thank you for the opportunity. And so we'll turn it to you, Sue, for their closing statements.
Thank you, past President Paul. Lee Kuan Yew, we'll let you take it away. 2 minutes.
Okay, fellow Kiwanians around the world, I'm running for vice president because I believe Kiwanis is the global organization where we can build more servant leaders to multiply our impact on children's lives. And with your support, we can bring Kiwanis International further than we have ever been before. How, you may ask? Well, by inspiring servant leaders at every level of our Kiwanis organization. First, Kiwanians are natural servant leaders because we are passionate about serving others. Second, to be a club president is service, and to be a club secretary is service too. Because a vibrant Kiwanis club led by an enthusiastic club president will deliver excellent service to the children and the community. And third, at the district level, we need servant leaders to support and to inspire our club leaders to deliver excellent service and to enhance the club experience for our members, old and new. My fellow Kiwanians, I'm a chartered accountant CPA with 35 years of financial management experience in several countries around the world, starting from England, then Canada, Hong Kong, and finally back in Malaysia, where I became a finance director, CFO of a private real estate development company for 20 years. These financial experience at top level will be very useful when serving on the international board. Therefore, I believe passionately that Kiwanis as a global organization can build servant leaders to multiply our impact on children's lives. And with your support and with your vote, fellow Kiwanians, we can bring Kiwanis International further than we have ever been before. Thank you.
Thank you, George.
Yes, ma'am. I would appreciate your votes when we convene next month in Indianapolis to choose a new vice president. I believe I have a great deal to offer this organization. I have experience, I have knowledge, I've got passion. I believe in Kiwanis deeply to the core of my being. But I believe we have an enormous amount of work to do, and we'd best get to that work. We are losing members, particularly here in North America. Our club, we're losing clubs. Losing clubs, we're not keeping up. And in many cases, the reason we're not keeping up is because we have not kept up with the club experience. We're not giving our clubs the tools and the training and the knowledge that they need to reach out into their communities and to interest the right people to step into the right jobs to keep those Kiwanis clubs strong. I believe that can be done, and I believe it can be done in an organized and intelligent way, simply by doing some analysis, by talking to the clubs that are already successful and finding out what their secrets are, what their tricks are, what the tips are that they have to offer to the rest of us. As your Kiwanis International Vice President, I propose to listen more than I talk. I propose to listen to the members, to listen to our leaders at every level of the organization, to gather their ideas, to gather their knowledge, and to put all of that stuff together and to get it out to our clubs and to our club leaders in such a way that it becomes a useful and viable tool. I want to end by seeing club membership start to grow again and to see it grow in a predictable and regular way. Thank you so much, and I hope that I'll have your vote in Indianapolis.
Thank you to both of our candidates, George and Lee Kuan Yeung, for being with us this evening and this morning. I should say happy Friday. To Paul, thank you again for joining us this evening. We will let you know that we'll get all these posted. It's also on Facebook Live. We had some great comments coming in from through our candidates on through our participants on Zoom. And a reminder, next week's program on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time will be Mike Downs, our convention coordinator, will come in and tell us what's going to happen in Indianapolis. So if you want to learn a little bit more about Indianapolis, feel free to join us. That's next Thursday. We'll do that. June 9th, we will actually do Kiwanis International Live. We will be live from the Kiwanis International Convention. And I'm sorry, I skipped June 2nd. Carol Stern will be with us to talk about leadership. So we've got some great programs coming up. We appreciate you all being with us this evening. Have a great evening. Have a great weekend, and take care. Take care of the kids, because kids need Kiwanis. Thank you.
I got a question, Sue.
Yes.
August is Elvis Presley's day. Will you invite Elvis Presley impersonators to come?
Well,
and
you know, we have David Roth, so maybe I need to go after,
all right, okay.
maybe I need to go after Elvis Presley now.
Okay, I'll get a standby.
All right, thank you. Have a great evening,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye-bye, fellow
Bye.
Good night,
Kiwanians.
all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Paul.
Bye.
Bye, George. And thank you very much, Sue.
Thank
Good
you.
night, Quan. Good night, Paul, Sue.
Good
Good
night.
night, everybody. Good night, John Boy.